Nadia, can you think of any questions that we commonly get asked?
I think commonly is about the application period for the universities, and then like also about the intakes, when usually the intake starts. Because people from different parts of the world, they can also finish their studies at different times. So some of them, they finish the study by summer, so they can then join the September intake. But for some others, they will only finish by the end of this year. And then some of them get confused of like which country they should go for, because a lot of the students, they don't want to do gap year, and they just don't want to do 6 months doing nothing. They would rather go to the university and study, right? So I think it's one of the most common question. And also about the application documents, usually what type of documents that students will need for the university application.
Yes, I think that also when it comes to like the application period, for me as a South African, we have a different application period than China, for example. So I usually start my academic year in January. However, in China, it starts in September. So I had to wait 6 months in order to actually start my degree program. And what I did was I did a non-degree program in China at Shenzhen University, where I just did Chinese language training. And I think it was still a very good experience. So if you possibly, maybe you graduated in South Africa and you want to study in somewhere that has like a 6 month period where you have to wait, maybe you can think of doing a non-degree program in the meanwhile, while you're waiting to get accepted for the degree program. I think it's also a very good experience. So that's something to possibly consider as well. Yeah, so when it comes to like application documents and what is needed, please be aware that if you're applying for something that's maybe a non-degree program or a bachelor's program, you might not have to give so many documents. However, if you're applying for master's and PhD, you have to give in quite a lot of documents. So it's very common that you'll be asked to have letters of recommendation. Commonly, we ask for 2 letters of recommendation, because even if it's not required, it is beneficial for your application to have it. You will have to write a personal statement, which it should be longer if you're applying for a higher degree. If it's a bachelor's, it should commonly just be 1 page. And that basically explains like, why are you applying to that university? Why do you want to do that program? And what are you going to use it for in your life? Kind of in a way, just telling them why you've made this decision. And if it's a master's, maybe it'll be 2 pages or 1.5 pages. And for a PhD, it might be a bit longer. Also, if you're applying for a PhD, you might be asked to give in some research or a thesis, something that basically says what you wish your thesis to be about, which might be a very large document. It might be up to like 20 pages of explaining why you want to research this topic. So don't be surprised if that's one of the requirements, because that is very common. You will also need to sometimes give in a bank statement, which shows your proof of funds, even if you are applying for scholarships, because there is a possibility you don't get those scholarships. And you need to be able to prove that even if you don't get that scholarship, you do have proof of funds to study at the university. You will have to also have your high school graduation certificate, and you will also need to have an English language certificate if you are studying in English. Your English language certificate should be an IELTS test or a TOEFL test, or possibly you can, if you studied your high school education or bachelor's education in English before, you can get an English language letter from the university or high school that will basically state with your high school stamp and the headmaster's signature that you did study in English before, and that can be a way of giving in an English language certificate. And then also you need to give in your high school transcripts and also university transcripts if you studied in university before. So those are the common ones. Oh, and then also passport scan. Don't just take a picture of it with your phone, a scan, proper scan, where you see both sides, the top page of the passport and the bottom page of the passport. We need to see that. And then also we need to have a picture of you. So that is kind of like an ID picture or a passport picture with a white background. It's just a picture like that, normal picture you'd apply for a passport with.
Great. It's very complete, guys. I hope you take a note of that. But if you don't, you can always visit Global Admissions and China Admissions for more info and detailed information about the documents that you will need for your university application.